Hello everyone, the Kentucky Patriot here. Just want to do a video with you, and I'm just going to be talking today, and I'm going to be comparing some stuff and some numbers. And you say, well, what does that matter? I don't really care about ballistics like you do, because I nerd out on ballistics. I love it. I do a lot of testing, not only for your benefit, but for mine too. I enjoy it. I love it. Different bullet types, different velocities. But this is more important today. This is not just for your general knowledge or just knowledge to keep just for your pleasure or whatever. We are literally, because even if it's not your hobby, it's important that we know the truth, okay? And we've been lied to by the mainstream media, even local people around here. I was talking to the guy the other day, and we were talking about the 5.56, and he was talking about the devastation of the round that need to be outlawed. ARs need to be outlawed because of the devastation of the round. It was made specifically to wound, and the devastation it caused. There's no other round that causes that kind of devastation. So I want to tell you the truth. That way you can be armed with the truth. And when we hear things like this, it's important to have knowledge and to have facts and to have information where we can rebuke these things with the truth, not with what Grandpa said or what Uncle Joe said, but with facts and numbers, physics. And of course, we've done videos. You've seen us shoot a 30-06 and a 30-30 and 5.56, water jugs, meat targets, different things. But just hang on with me here, and I want to explain what I'm talking about as we go on. But real quick, do me a favor, if you would, check out AR Tactics, and I'll leave a link in the description below, because we never get to the point where our training stops. We never get where we're good enough now on our draw, we're good enough now hand to hand, we're good enough now on our accuracy or shooting. Our training should never stop. We should always be trying to sharpen that spear. No, I'm not sponsored by them. This isn't an advertisement for them. It's not paid, anything like that. It's just I personally follow them, and I'm going to try to train myself down there, because regardless of what you're looking for, they've got you covered. They've got if you want to train for Navy SEAL, they've got you covered. Kenny Florin's down there, UFC guy. If you want to train with him down there, they got women's classes. There's a lady that takes care of the women, self-defense, hand-to-hand shooting. They've got a kill house. I think they call them a shoot house now, but they got a shoot house, an actual shoot house. They do car shootings, all kinds of scenarios, hand-to-hand combat, some Krav Maga, I think some jiu-jitsu, basically all kinds of real-world scenarios. Even if you're a first-time shooter, they even have like a handgun fitting class where they'll let you shoot different guns, let it fit your hand, see what carries best for you. So if you're looking to train, whether it's concealed carry, home defense, whatever the case may be, check them out. Great bunch of folks down there. And I'm subscribed on Instagram, their Facebook, YouTube, whatever. So really cool stuff. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. If you're in the area, stop in and do some training with them. Like I said, I'm going to try here in the near future to go down there and train some myself. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. When you hear things like these are made, the bullet type, you'll hear all this, that they're basically full metal jackets. Now, I didn't get them out, but I do have some 5.56 that are hollow point, but I think all these here are just your standard full metal jacket. There's nothing special about the bullet type. And then they say, yeah, with what velocities and blah, 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 which this is what we have to understand. Your foot-pounds of energy is really what matters, because speed matters and so does size. But the smaller the bullet is, it's easier to propel faster, but it's still, just because something's fast doesn't mean it has the foot-pounds of a bigger bullet. Now, when you have velocity and size, when you have a big bullet, like a 470 Nitro Express going fast, that's when you really have a lot of foot-pounds. So it's measured by speed or velocity, and it's measured by the mass or the weight of the bullet, okay? So when you hear how devastating the 5.56, or you could say 2.23, there is a difference, but we're going to say either or. That's what I was trying to explain in hunting applications. I know it's a center-fired round here in Kentucky. You're technically allowed to use a 2.23 to deer hunt. I personally choose not to, because of the lack of power. To me, there's not much recoil difference in the 2.43. My little boy, he's been hunting, shoots his own deer. He has been hunting with the 2.43 for a couple years, and we love it. I like a 2.43 or 2.70 or above to hunt whitetail deer. Not saying you can't with a 5.56, but when they talk about the devastation of the 5.56, now don't get me wrong, all rounds, nobody wants to be hit with it. So if your argument is, well, I don't want to be hit with it, that still doesn't mean that it's that devastating of a round, or it's more powerful than a 30-06. And I try to explain them. It's not even close ballistically in foot-pounds of energy to a 30-30-30-06. And I was trying to explain that, but I couldn't make much headway. But I want you to know the truth. So if you get caught with this, you can tell them the facts. Now, people's going to believe what they want to believe. We live in a day when people believe there's 182 genders. So whatever. But you should know the truth, and the truth will make you free. I did take some cheat sheets because I was going to write it down, but my handwriting is terrible, so I took screenshots from these websites. So real quick, like the Winchester, your typical, probably what you're shooting is, and I know there's different barrel lengths, there's different chronographs, but this gives you a general idea. And I know there's other rounds I could have picked, but just real quick, in general, most people, you're either shooting a 55 grain or 62 grain, pretty much is what you're going to be shooting out of a 5.56. Well, the Winchester here, 5.56, has about 3,600 feet per second at the muzzle velocity. The muzzle energy advertised velocity is 1,289. So that is under 1,300 foot-pounds of energy, okay? And that's with the Winchester, the 62 grain. Like I said, I'm not saying there's not good home defense rounds or you shouldn't use these, but I just want you to know the truth. And then Federal, that's these down here as well. These are the 62 grain. Now the advertised velocity on these is 3,020 feet per second, and the muzzle energy is 1,255 feet. So again, it's under 1,300 foot-pounds of energy. Well, you say, well, here's another one, Federal. Now I didn't have these, but I want to throw this in here though. This is the Federal NATO 62 grain penetrator. I do not have these, but now this advertised velocity was 3290, and it's still 62 grain, and the energy was over 13. It was 1332, so it's 32 pounds over, but it was over 1,300. So at best, you're talking a little bit over 1,300. In general, you're talking under 1,300, okay? And these numbers are important. Now you say, well, I shoot the 55 grain. Well, let's say you are shooting these XM 193. This is from Federal, and this is Federal Ammunition USA, so this is their website. So this is not like these numbers that I crunched or maybe I messed up, or this is from their website. And again, you got to understand barrel length matters. We understand that, but this is just in general. But it says the muzzle velocity is 3165, and this is again out of a 55 grain. But the muzzle energy is 1223, so you're pushing basically 100 pounds less than the penetrators and a little less than the 62 grain. So that's what we're looking at there, okay? So we're basically talking about 1,300 ballpark figure, okay? Now we're going to move up to the 30-06, okay? And these are the Remington. There's different brands you can have, but this is just for the video's sake, and this is the 150 grain, okay? So the 150 grain, the advertised muzzle in the foot pounds of these 150 grains core lock from Remington is 2,820. Now that's at the muzzle, and this is on Remington's Remington.com is almost 3,000, so it's 2,820, and that's with 150 grain, almost 3,000. So it's more, but that was double than the 5.56 of energy, okay? So we're not even talking in the ballpark of foot-pounds, because you got to take the size of the bullet, 55 grain, 62 grain, 55 grain, 150 grain. So you're taking a big bullet going really fast. And then these Winchester, now these are the 180 grain. These are 180 grain. Now this is actually probably more what you're using for deer hunt, at least I do. Winchester, the Power Max bonded, this is for deer, elk, or black bear. 180 grain, and you can see right here, this one for some reason Remington didn't have really any velocity, any numbers for me. I had to look that up off their website, but this Winchester Power Max does, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but you can get the box, look it up online. But the muzzle, now at the muzzle, it is 2,700 feet a second. So you're basically getting the same velocity, or really close, within a few hundred feet of velocity, but you're not talking a 62 grain or 55 grain, you're talking a 180 grain bullet. So you're more than triple the size of these 55 grain bullets basically, and you're still up there in velocity. Then the energy, listen to this, is 2,913. So it's almost 3,000 foot-pounds of energy. Not 1,300, 3,000. And you say, well, that's a lot of math, and that's a lot of, it is, but I want you to understand something. When they talk about these ARs should be outlawed, the 5.56 should be outlawed because of all the devastation. People's like, well, I've seen what they've done when they've hit a meat target. Well, I don't know if you've had an air rifle as a child. You know those kinds you pump up with a pellet? I wouldn't want to be shot by a pellet. But you can't say that pellet gun is so devastating that you make it into some make-believe round that you hunt deer with it, because it's not. I know there is some air rifles, people hunt squirrels, but it's the same thing with the 5.56. Yes, there's going to be some devastation. Yes, when you have a 55 grain or 62 grain going those kind of velocities, you're going to get some foot-pounds of energy. You're going to get 1,300 pounds of foot energy. Yes, it's good for home defense or close quarters or whatever the case may be, but it's still nowhere in the ballpark of what normal people hunt with, normal hunting rounds, like a 30-06. When I was a child, everybody had one. Everybody either hunted with one or that or a 30-30. I know other rounds that we talked about has gotten more popular here lately, but when I was a kid, you either had a 30-30 or 30-06. So you have to understand that 30-06 that your grandpa has is way more powerful than that black rifle that everybody says is evil, needs to be banned. You'll know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Because I literally was talking with a guy, he's like, yeah, but I've seen the devastation of a 5.56. It is so devastating what it does to the body. It won't do anything close to what a 30-06 will. It won't. It's physics. It's facts. It's science. Not the made-up science we hear that fits an agenda because the money's backing it. Like I said, take it out and do it yourself. Get you a rifle. Get you a 5.56. I tell you what, I wasn't planning on this, but I'm going to actually open this. Here's your 5.56 round. This is the bigger round. This is the 62 grain. 62 grain green tip. This is your M855, your typical, probably what you're shooting. And let me put it by one of these. And I'm going to show you the difference. I should have had this out. I didn't think about doing this until actually I started the video. We don't edit videos. I just talk to you. So, yeah. So, when somebody's like, that 5.56 is way more devastating than... Yeah. This is actually the projectile, 180 grain. 62 grain. So now we do understand this is going to be a whole lot more recoil than the 5.56. Now don't misunderstand me, but you're pushing a projectile that is much larger at close, relatively the same speed. That this isn't even close. And I know, like I said, I threw a lot of information at you really fast. I talk really fast, but I try to make the videos too long. But I think it's important that when we have these discussions that we are armed with facts and numbers, that we can basically say, the velocities are similar, the foot-pounds aren't. The velocities are similar, the size of the bullets aren't. So when they act like that, these 5.56 or some magic round, they're made out of the same material. So there's nothing magic about them. The media's lying to you. These gun grabbers, they're lying to you. It's an agenda. You can look it up yourself, or like I said, go to the range yourself. Shoot a water jug, shoot a meat target, shoot something with a 5.56, I don't care, 55, 62 grain, you pick. And then shoot something with a 30-06, and you can see the difference for yourself. But again, we'll try to get out to the range pretty soon, not complaining, it's super busy with soccer, volleyball, church, family, work. You know how it goes. It's getting cooler, it gets dark early. We'll try to get out to the range here pretty soon and shoot some stuff. Maybe do a comparison videos with these two on the range. I've done them separate, but not actually compared the two. But I may do that. But anyway, check out that AR Tactics. Just a good bunch of people. They're really trying to help people, like I said, of all ages. I don't care how much experience you have or how little experience you have. If you're a new shooter, an experienced shooter, if you want to learn hand-to-hand, want to learn close quarters, they'll do scenarios where they'll come around the corner and somebody will grab you with or without a gun, with or without a knife, whatever the case may be. And the more you know, the more you train. You know, I never want to stop. As long as I'm alive, I want to train, I want to learn, I want to do better, and I want you to too, because at the end of the day, it's not about what belt we hold. It's not about what places we've been. It's not what we've watched on. It's actually what we're capable of. And I want you and your family safe. I want you to be able to defend yourself, whether at home, whether in a car, whether in the street, because you getting home to your family is what's important. Like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below. If you would, check me out on Facebook, Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. It means so much to us. I wish you and yours the very best. May God bless you. The Kentucky Patriot, signing off.